Hello, everyone. This is Chanel Pinto, and you're listening to the All About Sentiments podcast. I have done a lot of podcasts on many different topics, but today's podcast is going to be about a very serious topic and something that I strongly feel about. Today, we're talking about bullying. Now, I do want to give a trigger warning. If this topic makes you uncomfortable, please stop watching this video here, and I will see you in the next one. Bullying is something that unfortunately happens in every school around the world. I was reading this article the other day that said 1 out of 3 children in high school face bullying. And the numbers have just kept increasing throughout the years. So many children around the world self-harm because of bullying, and many also lose their life to bullying. This topic is so serious, but unfortunately, it is not addressed in so many schools, even today. Schools waste so many resources prioritizing topics that can be spoken about later on instead of prioritizing raising awareness on bullying. It is actually really sad because growing up, I never really knew the extent of how damaging bullying can be. I have been bullied for 5 years of my life. And I only ever understood how bad it was when I moved out of the country. I had to heal myself. I've tried to record this video multiple times. It's not easy to talk about this, especially when you yourself have endured something like this. But this is my final take, and I'm going to upload this however this video ends up. Because for me, my main purpose is to talk about what I want to talk about and raise awareness. And I hope that this video reaches the people that are going through bullying. And I also have a message to parents, teachers, and schools. Let's get started on this podcast. I want to give you a little bit of context, just for your understanding. I went to the same school for over 10 years. And I had met a lot of my classmates in kindergarten. And bear in mind, over the years, people kept joining our school from other schools, and the numbers kept going up. But a lot of my classmates and a lot of people in my batch were classmates I'd seen growing up. When we were younger, everyone was obviously really nice. We were very innocent. And as a child, like when I was 5 or 6 years old, I was literally so mischievous, so loud. I had so much confidence, no glimpse of self-doubt because there was no one to feed that energy in my mind. But things changed for me in the 6th grade. That's where I started noticing that the people who were once the kindest had now suddenly changed and become mean. We were around 10, 11 years old in the 6th grade. So just entering the teenage years. And I think the kids had kind of understood what popularity meant. And to some, popularity meant being intimidating. Coming across as so intimidating and bossy that no one messes with you. It meant having such a witty mouth and putting others down just to make yourself look better. Students had divided themselves among these groups. So there was a group of the popular kids. These kids, everyone knew them, everyone wanted to be like them, right? They looked good, they groomed themselves a certain way, and they were either good at studies, good at sports, or they had a sibling in the higher grade, or they had a very witty mouth. Like, yeah, they were the well-known popular kids, okay? Then you had another group of kids that were very introvert. They just went to school to study, mind their business, and then go back home. These kids were usually like just staying to themselves. They didn't bother with others. And then there was the last group. I really felt sorry for this group because they didn't really know what they wanted to do in life. They were trying so hard to fit in and make a place for them in school that they wanted to be a part of the popular group. So they changed the way they were in order to fit in. And they saw that, oh, like in order to fit in, I probably need to like be intimidating. So that's what they started doing. They started being mean and dragging others down to grab attention of the popular kids and be their friends. And this whole mindset changed a lot of kids and made them bullies. The bullying for me got really bad, especially in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. It got to such a point where I hated going to school. The thought of going to school would get me so frustrated, but I still had to go. There was no awareness on bullying, so I didn't really know what was happening or if it was right or wrong. I didn't know. And the thing with bullies is they manipulate you in such a way that you actually think that there's something wrong with you. I was bullied for the way I looked a lot. I was a chubby kid, so I was obviously bullied for my physique. I had intense body image issues growing up because of the bullying. I was bullied for my hair. I had really curly hair, just like I have now. I was bullied for my hair because my hair was different to the other girls. I was bullied for my nose. I was called so many different labels, including fuzzball, hippopotamus, elephant. Yeah. So it was really bad. And at that age, an age where a child should not have any body image issues, I started having intense body image issues to a point where even going shopping and buying a nice dress for myself was really hard. All the photos I have of myself in my childhood, I'm covering my arms. I'm either wearing a coat, a blazer, or a shawl over my dress and like hiding the prettiest part of my dress because I was so insecure about my arms. I thought I looked so fat and I wanted to hide my body in as many layers as I could. I was so uncomfortable. So many children went through mental health issues at that age because of the bullying. Because the bullies made them feel so ugly and so inferior. And there was this thing that happened in the 8th grade where bullies would randomly come up to you and slap you across your face really hard to a point where it left a huge mark and be like, ha ha, sorry, I was dared, it was a prank. Excuse me, you just assaulted me. And you call that a dare, that someone dared you to come and do that to me? You could have said no. And these were people my own age. And not just that, there was this one time, there were many times actually, but I'll tell you about one time where I was feeling really cold in class. Like I was freezing and I really had to ask someone to turn off the AC before I get sick. So I was like, can someone please turn off the AC? And this kid, I don't want to mention his name, but this kid looked back at me and was like, you have so many layers of fat. Why are you feeling cold? Excuse me? Why would you say that to someone? Like, it's not even funny. Why would you say that to someone? So there were many instances like this, which made going to school extremely difficult for me because I absolutely hated it there because of the students. And the sad reality is, a lot of teachers were also in on it. Teachers would literally insult you to your face in front of the whole class. Now, bear in mind, I already had body image issues because of the students. But in the 8th grade, this teacher, she looks at me and I was wearing our sports uniform, the white one. I hated it, but I had to wear it. She looks at me and she was like, Chanel, you look really fat in that uniform. I was like 13 years old. And I was already being bullied by so many people in my class and other classes. So, do you think that what she said was the right thing to say to a child who is already going through so much? Like, you're supposed to be a role model to the other children in that class. But now, not only did you make it worse for me, now everyone in the class is staring at me and ready to insult me as soon as you leave because of what you said. And I still remember at that point, I spoke back to her. I don't exactly remember what I said, but she was like, give me your diary right now. I'm going to write a note to your parents. And she wrote this big of a remark on my diary just because I stood up for myself. And teachers read out your marks really loud in class. Like if you failed, everyone knew you failed. How is that appropriate to do to a child? Like you're just torturing them at this point. It's just hatred on another level. Like I don't mind you announcing marks of a child that has done well in school. Like, yay, good on them. It's an achievement. But if someone has failed, what gives you the right to insult them in front of the whole class, knowing damn well that they're so young? And so many times people don't even know how to process those emotions of feeling humiliated and embarrassed in front of the whole damn class. How is that okay? But no one spoke about it because no one knew how bad it was. No one knew the extent of how damaging it was. As a teacher, they should have known better, but unfortunately they didn't. But I'm not just going to sit here and talk poorly about all the teachers because I had some good teachers. And I actually want to name them in this video because they need to be appreciated and acknowledged for leaving such a good impact on not just mine, but so many children's lives. When I actually spoke about my experience about bullying, so many people from my school reached out to me and told me about their own experience. So it was not just me. So many people were going through bullying and other issues because of their teachers. So many people were feeling suicidal. They wanted to self-harm, extremely depressed, have so much anxiety because of the school, because of the students, because of the teachers. And this happens in so many schools around the world. But the students have nobody to share this with because they don't know what's happening to them because of the lack of awareness. So the teachers I want to acknowledge, Mrs. Susan, Mrs. Bindu Alexander, and Mrs. Chetna. These three teachers, I absolutely love them with all my heart. Just seeing them every day, the smile on their face, the encouragement they would give students, it was amazing. These women were actually meant to be a teacher. And the sad thing about all this is a lot of schools don't even make changes even after a child loses their life to bullying. Everything still stays the same. Like, why does it have to get to that point? I have a message to parents. Please educate yourself on mannerisms of a child that's being bullied. There are so many behavioral traits that a child that's getting bullied does that you need to know about to protect your child. Your child spends so much time at school, and if they're not safe enough, you need to protect them. And protection doesn't just mean changing the school, because bear in mind, this happens in literally every school. There are bullies everywhere. So some of the mannerisms of a child getting bullied is that they distance themselves from everyone. They stop doing things that they once found very interesting. They start eating less or having eating disorders because of maybe something put in their mind by other children. They don't talk much. They just want to spend time alone most of the time. Like, how can a child that is super bubbly, super energetic, go from being that to super low, not wanting to talk to anyone, very depressed, and always in their room? It doesn't work like that. So, no, your child didn't just change. Things in their life happen that push them to be like that. My message to teachers: please do not be a teacher if you hate children. It's not just a job that you go to, oh yeah, I want to earn money today, I'm going to go be a teacher. It's so much more than that. Your presence, the way you treat a child, can have so much impact on the way they see themselves. So if you're out there harassing them, making them feel low of themselves, that's exactly what they're going to believe because you're an adult. We've always been taught to look up to our teachers, think so highly of them, they're role models, they teach you. I agree with all of that, 100%. But if you are treating a child so poorly, how are they supposed to see themselves the way they deserve to see themselves? And in today's world, we should know better. Not everyone is meant to be like a scholar in education. Children can be good at other things. So stop putting someone down if their grades are not perfect. If they're not getting 100% or like 90%, they might be better at something else. They might be born to do something else in their life. Since when did we start putting people down for having other talents? Like, it's actually crazy to me to think there are so many very talented, well-known public figures that have spoken about their journey and how they were looked down when they were a child, but now they have turned out to be so successful. But even then, we still look down on so many children. And my final message is to schools. Please provide resources to children. Skits on global warming, all of that stuff can wait. But you can save a child from losing their life to bullying by providing resources and educating children on the lifelong effect it can have when you bully someone. Have stricter punishment for bullies. Give children an opportunity to speak about what they're going through. Someone who actually comes out and talks about them being bullied is not a pussy. They're not weak for coming out and talking about what they've been through. They're actually strong for having the bravery to come and talk about it. I think it's weak when you're projecting your insecurities onto other people, and that's exactly what bullies do. They're weak, so they find a way to be bitter and remove their anger and frustration on someone else. But if schools were strict on their, let's say, like punishments or on the consequences, things would be so much better. So educate students on bullying, because bullying, it is something that affects so many children, and the trauma, it lasts for years. The children have to go through so much healing, so much therapy to actually heal from what people put on them. Thankfully, I was able to heal myself after coming to New Zealand. I spent time getting to know myself. I spent time healing myself from all the body image issues that I had, because I realized that, you know what? Everything that they said to me, that's how they thought about themselves. That's how they looked at themselves. I don't have to look at myself that way. That's not about me. I don't deserve to feel like that about myself. I'm a confident woman, and that's exactly how I will see myself. That's how I will portray myself. And that's what I did. But not every child is able to endure the pain of bullying. So please provide more support and take this topic seriously. Honestly, I was thinking a lot about whether I should make this video or not, whether it would even make a difference, but I really hope it makes a difference. In order to be a part of any social event or activity. For example, if you wanted to be a part of the cheerleading or dance or whatever it was, you had to be a part of these popular gangs because apparently they were given the right to select people in the team. I don't know. But they were like favorites because they would kiss ass to all the teachers. And the teachers gave them rights to select people. So if you wanted to do cheerleading and you were not their friend, then too bad. Sad, right? I know. But this happens in so many schools and so many children who actually want to do something, but they're a bit silent because, there are people who are extrovert and then there are introverts. The people who have common knowledge know this. Not everyone is supposed to be loud and talkative. So the introverts never really got a chance. No one even asked them. If they didn't go to the teacher themselves or go to a student themselves and maybe get bullied and made fun of, there was not even a chance. And that's so sad. And not really anyone cared about your mental health. No one even spoke about mental health. Bullying had become such a common thing that people were just dealing with it. I actually realized how much trauma I had built from bullying in school that when I came to New Zealand, I spent so many years healing myself. I had so much self-doubt at university when I was trying to get into all these clubs and like social events. I had so much insecurity that I don't know who I would meet. I don't know what kind of kids I'd have to deal with, but it was quite the opposite. And I'm very glad that it was because I got to meet so many amazing people here who accepted me for the way I was without making fun of the way I looked or without making fun of the way I talked. The reason I have confidence in me today, the reason I'm the way I am today is because of the way I was accepted in New Zealand and the way I've healed. So I want to pass on a message to all those kids getting bullied. If you have got bullied, if you have gone through bullying, it is not your fault. There isn't anything wrong with you. There never has been. If you're being made fun of the way you talk, the way you dress, the way you look, there is nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with those bullies. Most of them come from broken families or there's something wrong. Instead of healing and instead of understanding why they're doing what they're doing, they choose to bully. So there's nothing wrong with you. So if you have got bullied and if it's still affecting you, please try to heal yourself. Either go to therapy. Therapy helps a lot. Talk to someone about it. Get into spirituality and like really try to understand the issue. And if you're in school currently or high school and if you're getting bullied, please don't stay quiet about it. Please do not stay quiet about it. That's exactly what the bullies want. Talk about it to either your parents or a trusted adult. Talk about it to someone who you know will do something about it. Not just a teacher that'll tell you, oh, like, just deal with it. It's nothing. You're grown up now. No, 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 no. Talk about it to someone who will actually do something about it. This has nothing to do with you. Never blame it on yourself. I know bullies can really make it look like you are literally the worst person on the planet, but it's not you. Bullies, there's no justification for their actions. There is none. Because a lot of people come from broken families, but they choose not to project that onto others. So I cannot explain why people are the way they are. Okay? There are bad people in this world, but we need to be able to handle these situations. They need to get consequences for their actions. I think that if a child is helped earlier on, it can really make an impact on their adulthood and they will have so much less trauma that will carry forward in their adulthood. Like when an adult gets bullied, right? It even affects an adult. But at least adults have enough maturity at times to deal with it in a better way, but kids do not. And you're not even supposed to expect kids to have that maturity at that age. So many people tell kids, oh, you need to man up. Why? They're going to school to study, not to fight a fucking war. With teachers and dumb kids who need to sort their life out, but they choose to bully others. Kids are not going to school to fucking fight. They're going to study. They're going to learn. They're going to be peaceful. You don't know what kids go through at home. You don't know what's happening in their house. You don't know what they're escaping from. So instead of making them feel like shit for something that they're doing, why don't you try to sit with them and talk to them and understand why they are the way they are, or why they're behaving a certain way, or just understand where their mental health is at. And for students, I don't know if bullying will ever be stopped, honestly. Like, that's me saying, like, a very realistic thing. But if you know of someone getting bullied, if your friend is getting bullied, please don't be quiet about it. Talk to someone about it. If you yourself are getting bullied, please know that it is not your fault. Please know that there's nothing wrong with you. There are so many bystanders that know that a certain child is getting bullied, but they do nothing about it. It took me many years to heal from the trauma I had in my childhood. If I could go back in time, I would literally be a lot stronger and fight my bullies. But I was a very different person back then. I was very naive, very gullible, and I was literally being a child my age. I just wanted to make friends. I just wanted to have really good childhood days. And unfortunately, because of how open I was to being friends with people, I was made fun of. And and I was made feel very less of myself. I was made feel like I was so ugly. I had so many issues to a point where I actually considered that I would like once I start working, I would get a plastic surgery done for my nose. I would never do that today. I'm very happy with the way I look. I'm very happy with the way I am. And I have no issues with confidence today. And that's because I took time and I healed myself. I met people who showed me that there's nothing wrong with me. So, bullying is not spoken about much, even though it should be. But I really hope that in the near future, changes are made so we can save more lives of little kids that kill themselves and lose their lives to bullying. Thank you for listening.